We're digging deeper into Vermont's opioid crisis and the impact it's having on mothers and their babies.
A 24-year-old woman addicted to heroin.
Way more powerful than anything else in the world.
Locked up, scared, and 9 months pregnant.
I've been crying for days. I can't stop.
Her family desperate to hold on to her second baby, born dependent on drugs.
DCF wants to step in and take custody of the baby. It's the one thing that's going to tear her apart.
And Miranda's personal story is unfolding now.
This is what's happening to keep other women from following her lead. 42-year-old Amy Rawling is all smiles while serving up breakfast at the Bellows Fall Diner in Windham County.
I just love people. I love having a job where I can work and I can talk and listen. I love it. It's the best.
Amy's a single mother of 4, and today her 22-year-old daughter Kyla stops in with her baby Sam to say hello. In this moment, you wouldn't know this family is in crisis. Kyla's big sister, Miranda.
My daughter's a heroin addict. My daughter was a heroin dealer. Well, she's in jail, 9 months pregnant, ready to have a baby, alone, in a strange place, without us, without her family.
Miranda is in federal custody at the Chittenden Regional Correctional Facility in South Burlington.
I try not to cry. That's all I do. Oh, because I messed up.
In late 2017, police arrested Miranda for dealing heroin. In early 2018, she pleaded guilty and was released on condition she completes a drug treatment program. She got pregnant soon after and stayed sober for 7 months with the help of the maintenance drug Suboxone before relapsing.
So I ended up using drugs the weekend before I went to court, and they gave me another chance, and I went to rehab. And then I got to go home, and then I messed up, and I'm back here.
On Christmas Day 2018, at nearly 9 months pregnant, she did heroin.
What went through your mind that day, knowing that you were 9 months pregnant?
I don't know, I just had a bunch of, it was like, there's no excuse for doing it at all. It's just my escape to when I get stressed out and overloaded.
This is going to be Miranda's second baby born addicted to drugs. 3 years ago, she had Braley May.
She ended up detoxing, so they had to rush her over to Dartmouth and put her in the NICU. And they weaned her down on morphine over like a 1.5-month period of time. And I got to take her home after.
Scared me to death. Scared me to death. It was different because I was never sure if she was using drugs.
She was using drugs, so her sister Kyla stepped in and ultimately adopted Braley.
It was hard. It was hard to support both of them. It was hard. You know, support my daughter who's giving up her daughter for the best to her other one to support her. It's very tough. She has her mom, Kyla, and then she has Miranda. She's got enough love.
Miranda says it is hard to watch her daughter call Kyla mommy, but she appreciates the value of this lifeline.
Thank you for taking care of my child for me, because I couldn't. And being the mom that I couldn't.
The future of Miranda's second child is unclear. Will DCF and the courts grant her one more chance? Miranda thinks her mom will get custody. Mom isn't so sure.
I'm supposed to take the baby home, and how do I tell my daughter that that might not be happening? That's what breaks my heart. I thought she was a normal 18-year-old. You know, going out with friends, hanging out. She had a boyfriend. Everything was normal. And then I got a phone call. She had been arrested for possession of heroin in Massachusetts. My heart broke. It's not the life I wanted my daughter to have. I'd love to be able to give everything and make everything better and make everything perfect, but I can't do that. I'm not educated in that area.
It's a frustration to find the fix. Families not truly understanding how to help their loved ones.
So we're on this journey with a local Vermont family struggling through pregnancy and a heroin addiction.
Tonight we continue our special series, The Fix, Mothers and Babies in Crisis.
This was Miranda a month ago.
A 24-year-old woman addicted to heroin,
Way more powerful than anything else in the world.
locked up, scared, and 9 months pregnant.
I've been crying for days. I can't stop.
Her family desperate to hold on to her second baby, born dependent on drugs.
DCF wants to step in and take custody of the baby. It's the one thing that's going to tear her apart.
Well, shortly after producing our first report, Miranda went into labor.
You're the cutest thing. You feeling good? We're gonna have a baby today.
A mother and daughter sharing a personal moment, both excited but also afraid of what will happen once the baby is born. What you can't see in the cell phone video are the guards standing outside the UVM hospital room door.
Miranda is a federal detainee right now, so no family. I did get permission. I got permission from them to be there for her when the birth happens. But that's it.
Hours later, it happened.
You did it! You're amazing!
Miranda gave birth to her baby girl.
You did amazing.
For 2 hours, grandmother, mother, and baby were at peace. Then reality struck. Miranda is a federal prisoner, and Amy's visiting hours were over. Amy shared with me how painful it was to walk away as she left the hospital.
12:40, 2 hours after birth, and I'm leaving my daughter in the hospital along with 2 guards. Her name is Eliana Grace Sevene. Everything about her is perfect. She's amazing. I have to leave her here in this strange place with nobody. Words can't explain the pain I'm feeling right now and that she must be feeling. She won't be able to call me for a few days. I don't have any idea what's going on.
Miranda spent 2 days with Eliana before she was sent back to the Chittenden Regional Correctional Facility. The Department of Children and Families awarded Amy's sister Jeanette temporary custody of Eliana until Miranda's federal case is over.
You know, it's just a difficult situation.
No cameras are allowed inside the federal courtroom, but this is the 3-page letter Miranda wrote and read before the judge.
You've got somebody who has committed a crime. She was very clear about accepting responsibility. So it's a question of getting over the opiate addiction, being given a chance to be reunited with the baby, and hopefully turning a corner.
Judge William Sessions told Miranda she would be sentenced to time served, followed by 3 years of probation, as long as she successfully completes the residential drug rehab program at Lund Family Center in Burlington for new mothers and their babies. Only problem? No available beds.
Most young women who are pregnant, who are planning to go to Lund, who are accepted at Lund, have several months' worth of advance notice, if you will. In her case, this all came on rather quickly. We have a pretty good sense that it's going to be within the next 2, 3, 4 weeks.
Until then, Miranda will remain behind bars.
We just didn't feel comfortable releasing her under circumstances in which something bad could happen between leaving the courthouse and reporting to Lund.
For her family, that decision is very upsetting.
I wanted her to go home. So,
Do you miss her?
yeah. A lot.
She's lost 2.5 weeks of bonding time, and now it could be another 2.5 weeks. Where if she was home, she could have had that. She could have spent days with her.
Days later, a spot opens up at Lund, and the judge agrees to let her go.
And this time when I leave her, I'm not going to leave crying sad. I'm going to be leaving her happy.
No handcuffs, no shackles, no uniform. A free woman.
So you have a level of freedom today that you haven't had in a while.
It feels great. And the probation, it's like a security thing for me. It keeps me accountable for my actions and other things that could happen down the road, that I always have that resource and the help there.
What's your biggest fear?
Relapse.
But you have a plan.
Yep.
You want the Vivitrol?
I want the Vivitrol. I've got Lund, which is got tons of resources. They help you with many things. I got my probation officer, which will be supportive as well and hold me accountable for things when I start slipping.
You have quite a support system.
I do. I'm lucky.
How excited are you to be reunited with your baby?
I'm overly excited. I cannot wait. It'll be nice to be able to have her, not just see her for a couple hours, or to be able to just be a mom and be an adult that I should be.
Well, this weekend on a special edition of You Can Quote Me, we take a closer look at Miranda's treatment plan, how it came together, and the challenges she still faces.
We also have an in-studio panel of experts ready to answer your questions. So find us on Facebook. Celine MacArthur, TV News, and Galen Etlin. Give us some of your feedback. Send a message with your questions, and you could see them answered here on the Channel 3 News. And tonight, we get your take with lots of comments on Facebook already.
Eileen says, hope she takes advantage of all the opportunities given to her. Everyone deserves a second chance.
Now, Taya says, I'm glad being with her baby will hopefully give her the strength to keep going in the right direction. Now, another one, keeping it real. You are supposed to learn from your mistakes, not repeat them.
And Heather says, this story gives me hope for the struggling parents and their innocent children. Is she perfect? No. Did she make unhealthy choices? Yes. If you can't help lift her and support her sobriety, you can at least put your judgment aside and allow those of us who understand addiction to help lift her.
Keep those comments coming. We appreciate them. I'm Galen Etlin.
And I'm Celine MacArthur. Joining us to talk about our series and the state of the opioid crisis in Vermont are Joanne Nelson from Mercy Connections.
We also have Mayor Merle Weinberger of Burlington, who's been focusing on taking on the drug crisis.
And our legal resident expert, Jerry O'Neill, former U.S. prosecutor. First reactions to the special so far.
I thought it was great. I thought it dealt with very difficult issues. That question of what you do with women in particular, and a woman who is pregnant, how do you deal with it? How do you help her move forward on it? I thought it put that forth very well.
As we leave you here, we give Senator Bernie Sanders the final word.
And he says, you can quote me.
So the first question we have to ask is, why is it that so many people are turning to opioids to escape the pain of life? If you are struggling and you need a counselor, you should be able to get that counselor when you need him or her.
And we profiled a 24-year-old woman who's had 2 children struggling with her addiction to heroin and fentanyl, and she's down in Bellows Falls, and their biggest struggle is that there are no resources for them down in that area.
All right. In this area, the Congress is moving. We have put many, many billions of dollars, some of which is coming to New Hampshire and to Vermont, to begin that treatment process. But at the end of the day, we are going to need a lot more counselors. We need a lot more psychologists. We need a lot more prevention efforts.
Do you think there also needs to be a focus on education for young people, understanding the dangers?
Absolutely. You know, that's a good point. You know, when I was a kid, when the word heroin came out, everybody knew that that was a killer drug. And I am not sure that a lot of young people understand how addictive and how dangerous heroin and opioids in general are. This is not something you play around with. Oh boy, I'm going to get high once or twice. This is stuff that is extremely addictive. And once you get hooked up on that, this is very tough stuff to get rid of. So I just hope and pray that young people do not fall into this out of ignorance. Understand this is terribly serious stuff, which will dramatically cause you pain in life.
How do we improve the education, though? Because there aren't any plans in the state of Vermont specifically. I mean, there's a spirit to educate the students, but nothing specific about heroin and fentanyl and this new generation of very powerful drugs.
I think, we have to explain that to the kids, that this is, that when they're playing with these types of drugs, they're playing with the future of their lives, you know, and the outcome is addiction or maybe death.
You look radiant.
Thank you.
How do you feel?
I feel good.
Yeah?
Yeah.
A Bellows Falls woman is celebrating a huge milestone tonight and says she's ringing in 2020 with 3 potentially life-saving resolutions. Stay sober, stay in school, and stay out of jail.
Yeah, this time last year, Miranda Sevene was locked up in federal custody at the women's prison in South Burlington. She was charged with having, using, and dealing drugs.
She was on pretrial release when she broke the law. Last Christmas, she did heroin when she was almost 9 months pregnant.
What went through your mind that day, knowing that you were 9 months pregnant?
I don't know, I just had a bunch of, I was like, there's no excuse for doing it at all.
This is a Channel 3 News exclusive report that we've been following for you for almost a year now. And Celine, I think it's really important for people to understand that this was not easy to get access to.
No, I had to convince quite a few people to grant me access, from U.S. Marshals to a federal judge. Now, they did because they say so many mothers are battling addiction and their stories aren't told. And they should be.
Now, this was just days before she gave birth. We followed her journey, having a baby as a federal inmate.
We're gonna have a baby today.
Through all of this, we also got to see her mother's experience and the struggle for the family to really keep the baby with them.
And this family video illustrates the raw emotional toll it takes on families trying to navigate a system they don't understand.
2 hours after birth, and I'm leaving my daughter in the hospital along with 2 guards. I have to leave her here in this strange place with nobody. Words can't explain the pain I'm feeling right now and that she must be feeling.
Miranda tries to explain that pain in a letter to a federal judge who ultimately gave her one more chance to get clean. Tonight in our special series, The Fix, Mothers and Babies in Crisis, we get to see where Miranda is now.
We also see how she's doing and what lies ahead.
Yeah, you could show them.
For 25-year-old Miranda Sevene,
So my name's Eliana, and I'm gonna be 1.
every moment she spends with Ellie is a gift.
Yeah, show them. Oh, there's a step. Oh. Woo! I haven't even got that on camera yet.
2019 has been a life-changing year for Miranda. She's now nearly halfway through her 1 year of court-mandated drug rehabilitation.
This is my drug court binder. This is the work I'm doing with my federal probation.
Here at the Lund Residential Treatment Facility in South Burlington, she raises her little girl while getting treatment.
It's nice to be able to parent my child.
Miranda wasn't there for her first child, Braylee. When she was born in the summer of 2015, Miranda was consumed by a life of using and dealing drugs.
I wasn't there for Braylee's first steps, so it's important that I'm there and present for all of Eliana's first.
Miranda is also approaching another major milestone. This spring, she finishes high school through Lund's New Horizons education program. Along with that ceremony, Miranda's hometown high school will also recognize her accomplishments.
I'm excited. I get to wear my cap and gown for both graduations. I get to walk. That was my choice. I wanted to walk. It was a big thing for me.
Miranda wants to pursue a career where she can use this experience for good.
I want to work with mothers that struggle with addiction. I want to go into social work first, and like a long-term goal would be to get my LADAC, drug and alcohol counseling. That's what it is.
Why is that important to you?
Because it's something that meant a lot to me, that has helped me a lot. It only works if you want it, though.
Every once in a while, Miranda reflects back on where she came from by watching Our First Story.
Locked up, scared, and pregnant.
9 months pregnant, ready to have a baby, alone.
When I watched it, I cried. I'm totally in a different spot from there. It's amazing, the growth that I've noticed in myself.
With the support of her family and her new beau, Miranda says she's ready for 2020.
He's cute. I like him. He's a good guy. He helps support my treatment, and he helps with Eliana. It's nice.
And he's not part of the other life?
No, he never was. This is a whole new Miranda.
Miranda's advice to anyone struggling is to trust the system. That includes DCF and the courts. The last time she didn't, and she lost custody of her daughter and her freedom.
For those of you interested, we do have this full series for you to watch on WCAX.com.